Welcome back to another video. My name's Aiden, and today we're going to go through how Travis Scott's Antidote was made on FL Studio. I made a poll last week and I said, what song would you like to see next? More than a third of people voted for Antidote, and then basically everyone in the comments was like, don't do Antidote. So today, we're doing Antidote. This track was produced by Eastbound and Wonder Girl, and for my Patreon supporters, I will be making the FLP available to you guys. Also, I just made a Discord server, so if any of you want to check that out, I will leave a link to it in the description. Let's jump in with the sample. You can make this two different ways. The first way is by modifying the original song that this guitar came from. The original song is called All I Need by Lee Fields, and it sounds like this. The first thing we're doing to this sample is we're chopping up the notes so that every note hits on the beat. From there, we're adding that to our mixer, and the first plugin we're using is Unmixed Drums, and we're using this really harsh preset with the drum level at 0.00 and the threshold and the release at 0.01. This is what it's going to sound like without and then with the plugin. The next plugin we're using is going to make a really big difference. It's Parametric EQ2. After you do that, just export the playlist and bring it back in and take it down by 16 semitones. In the actual song, after about 4 bars, it will go up 1 octave, so we're just taking it down by 4 semitones. The second way you can make this sample is by actually using a couple guitar VSTs. Since I've never played the guitar before, I resort to asking my friends that do play the guitar, and he suggested using a bridge pickup onto a Fender Telecaster into a Tweed style amplifier. So that's 3 things I was looking for. First thing was a Fender Telecaster VST, and luckily for this remake, my favorite VST for guitars called Ample Sound made their Ample Guitar TC based off the Fender Telecaster. The next part of making this guitar is using a bridge pickup, and the great thing about the Ample Guitar TC is that you can choose between bridge and neck pickup. So we've got 2 out of 3. Next, he said run it through a Tweed style amplifier, which has a very twangy sound. So I went to the amplifier section and I'm using the 65 twang, which has a very twangy sound. So that's 3 for 3, and it sounds really close. And I've been speaking to the guys from Ample Sound recently, and they offered to do a giveaway on this video. So my top 4 favorite comments on this video, I will hit them with a love heart react. And if that's you, just message me on Instagram, your name and email, and I will get you your free Ample Guitar TC. Thanks to Ample Sound, they're not paying me for this, I just really like their plugins and I wanted to give you guys some stuff for free. So yeah, there you go. There are actually 2 guitars playing in this sample. The second one is playing these chords. And with these guitars, the guitar playing the lead has been panned to the left, and the guitar playing the chords has been panned to the right. This is what they sound like so far. Then we're adding in some boom bap drum samples. This is all recreating the original sample. Then we're adding in similar effects to last time, like the unmixed drums, like the Parametric EQ2 to cut out some of the frequencies. So once you add all these effects, it's going to sound like this. From there, we're doing the same thing. We are exporting this and then we're taking it back into the playlist and we're taking it down by 4 semitones. Following all of this, we're going into a new project and we are making the beat. Okay, lots of stuff to go through here. Let's start off with the first thing you hear, which is this pad whistle sound. This was made using 2 different presets. The first one is from Repro 5. It's this modified version of the JH Bellina preset. This is what it sounds like without any effects. For the second preset, we're going into Kontakt, and we're using the preset Taper inside of Cloud Supply. Interesting bit of trivia for you. Cloud Supply came out after Antidote was released, so they didn't use this preset, but it worked so well for the remake, I just had to use it. This actually starts off as a plucking sound. For effects, we're adding RC20 Retro Color twice, and we're maxing out this space preset to give it this huge reverb effect. Another important preset comes from Guitar Rig 5. We're using this breathing preset, and we're automating the mix so that it increases at certain points during the song. So altogether, sick. I hope that makes sense to you. I didn't really explain that very well. Then we have the identical kick sample, which you can tell by comparing the waveforms. It matches perfectly with the original song. This is actually the same kick that I used in the Can't Say remake. It's this really popular UK drill kick. And the kick plays this really cool pattern. I'll play it all together. Then we have the identical hi-hat, which just plays this basic two-step pattern. One thing though, you've probably seen this before, but if you haven't, it's really good to know. We're just making it play 1/6 step away from hitting exactly on beat. So a normal two-step pattern would look like this, but we're just moving it along 1/6 step. And that's all you have to do to create this insane bounce. So all together. Then we have the open hi-hat, which just plays every 2 beats. Then we have the identical snare, and it plays this pattern. And that pairs with the chop snare, which is like this tonal snare, so it has a really distinct sound. And it's playing these little descending patterns. And if you're wearing headphones, you'll hear that they're switching in pan from right ear to left. Next up we have the 808. Beautiful. And you can see that this is the same 808 just by comparing the waveforms. It matches perfectly. This 808 pattern is nice and simple, but it does have a couple of nice little slides going on. For effects, we're leaving the 808 completely dry, then we're taking it down to around -9 decibels. The 808 also comes in reverse. Then we have the crash, which also comes in reverse. Then finally, Eastbound, who's one of the producers of this song, said in his Genius Deconstruction that he played this guitar live and recorded it into the song. And I had no idea how to recreate that sound, so I messaged a second guitarist who recommended using a shimmer delay pedal on a very wet setting and then running it through a distortion plugin. So I figured out the chord that was being played, and this is what it sounds like without any external effects. I played this on the Ample Guitar TC, and we're using the hold pedal. Then for effects, we're using Transient Master, and I've turned down the attack to make the transient more gentle. Then, if you remember back to the message, he recommended using a shimmer delay pedal, and there's this preset inside of Guitar Rig 5 called Shimmer Delay. So I used this preset and I turned off Tweedman and Tape Echo. So it's going to sound like this. Then some RC20 Retro Color for the distortion, some flanges. Then we're adding parametric EQ2, and we're cutting out some specific lower frequencies. And you can see them pretty clearly here. We're just chopping out some of the frequencies that are popping through. So afterwards, it's going to sound like this. After all of that, we're exporting it into the playlist, and we're adding some chorus, so it's going to sound like this. And I was really happy with how close that sounded to the actual guitar sample. This guitar is really quiet in the mix, so you probably won't notice it with everything playing. That's everything I want to go through in today's video. I didn't feel the need to remake the entire song because I feel like most people just want to see how this first part was made. If you like the background music, you can check their channel down in the link below. And if you want to get your own music on this channel, hit me up on Instagram and I will use your music. I know some people are like, oh, we've seen enough Travis remakes. And to be honest, I'm pretty full at this point with Travis remakes, so I'm gonna move on to some Kendrick Lamar, some The Weeknd, some Post Malone. We gotta get some Post Malone on this channel. What the hell's going on? So that's pretty much it for the remake. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Check this out. Premise on the beat subscribed. Premise, I watch your videos. Anyway.